Do you think it's a racist comment?
Oh, clearly. I think is very un-American.
Next on Newsmax Prime, profiles inconvenience from Senate Republicans. Lindsey Graham with a predictable screed. Mark Kirk unendorses Donald Trump. Then when it comes to Hillary, do the letters AP stand for adoring press? Curious timing from the Associated Press claiming Secretary Clinton had enough delegates for the Democrat nomination on the eve of the California primary. But will we see a backlash for Bernie with the ballots cast today? Plus, casting a light on conspiracies, or at least writing a novel about it, author Brad Meltzer joins us to talk about his new book, and you'll talk about what's on your mind as we take your calls. Newsmax Prime starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newsmax Prime. I'm J.D. Hayworth. Of prime interest tonight, panic and the presidential campaign. The panic does not come from Donald Trump. Instead, it's uneasy establishment Republicans ratcheting up their rhetoric critical of the presumptive GOP nominee. The way I see it, this is why grassroots conservatives view establishment Republicans with such disdain. Last night at this time, I detailed why Donald Trump was right to raise concerns about Judge Gonzalo Curiel and the judge's affiliation with the San Diego La Raza Lawyers Association, how Judge Curiel helped guide scholarship money to at least one illegal alien. Today, Jeffrey Lord at the American Spectator points out that one of the stated aims of the La Raza Lawyers Association is to, quote, encourage and support Latino and Latina judicial candidates to apply to the bench, end quote. Got that? Not to promote all qualified candidates, just those of a certain ethnic group. So, that group of lawyers clearly and unashamedly views legal issues through a Latino-only filter. Now, rather than pause and ponder Mr. Trump's concerns, the D.C. Republicans panic and line up to denounce the Donald. Paul Ryan calls it the textbook definition of racism. Mitch McConnell says it's a big mistake to, quote, write off Latino Americans. But writing at our parent website, Newsmax.com, our old friend Pat Buchanan agrees with me. Trump is right to question the judge's motives. Pat writes, and I quote, all of us are products of our family, faith, race, and ethnic group. And the suggestion in these attacks on Trump that judges and justices always rise above such irrelevant considerations and decide solely on the merits is naive nonsense. Not only is it nonsense, it's an act of political cowardice to kowtow to the leftist practitioners of so-called identity politics, because in so doing, you sacrifice principle for yet more politically correct pablum. And that's the way I see it. And what we see tonight is more discord within Republican ranks, even a full-scale retreat from some who consider themselves electorally vulnerable. Miranda Kahn has more from our Newsmax Prime newsroom.
JD, if there's two things Donald Trump is not a stranger to, it's headlines and controversy, and many a times we've seen the two go hand in hand. And one could presume the comments made by the presumptive Republican presidential nominee about a judge and his heritage would be no different. Today, Trump released an official statement claiming his comments have been misconstrued, saying, quote, this, I do not feel that one's heritage makes them incapable of being impartial. But based on the rulings that I have received in the Trump University civil case, I feel justified in questioning whether I am receiving a fair trial. Meanwhile, Trump, as a Republican presidential nominee, continues to be on trial himself with some Republicans, and while many have ruled in his favor, others may overturn their decision.
I disavow these comments. I regret those comments that he made. I don't think claiming a person can't do the job because of their race is sort of like the textbook definition of a racist comment. I think that should be absolutely disavowed. It's absolutely unacceptable. But do I believe that Hillary Clinton is the answer? No, I do not.
For the second time in less than a week, House Speaker Paul Ryan publicly condemning Donald Trump and his comments about Mexican-American judge Gonzalo Curiel.
He's a Mexican. We're building a wall between here and Mexico.
Paul Ryan's latest rebuttal of Trump follows a predictable pile-on by elites in Washington and the media.
Can I just do a poll? Nicole, is that racism?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
Joe.
completely racist.
Is that racism?
It's completely racist.
Reverend Nell, is that racism?
Oh, it's absolutely unequivocal
checking.
racist.
It's a predictable template used before by Trump's adversaries without much success. During the primary, Trump managed to spin similar events into bumps in the polls. But now the nation is pivoting towards a general election contest.
He's treated me in a hostile manner.
Trump has urged his surrogates to keep up the fight. And while Paul Ryan calls Trump's comments indefensible, former attorney Alberto Gonzales has defended Trump's right to raise concerns about bias, while also acknowledging Trump's ethnicity-based argument wasn't ideal. Also, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
And Donald Trump is not a racist.
Defended Trump while adding that ultimately this won't factor into voters' final decision come November. That is, unless this controversy proves to be the exception to the rule of Trump over the media.
Fact is that media loves controversy. The media loves to pay attention to this stuff and to work it up.
Well, House Speaker Paul Ryan says he's still endorsing Donald Trump. Senator Mark Kirk, as you had mentioned earlier, JD, of Illinois, has decided to withdraw his support, saying that Trump does not have the temperament to command. JD, back to you.